Hello. I'm actually a minute early. No, 2 seconds early. I had to do so much setting up for this one. Most of it cleaning the table. And should I do the thing and just check that I can hear us? Maybe I should. Oh, I live dangerously, because it said the mic was working on it and everything. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, this works out okay. Um, oh no, I'll check. I can't. It's a habit I've gotten into that I have to do. Okay, I'll do it, and then I'll be settled enough to be able to actually go on with the live stream without thinking about it. Okay, let me go back into YouTube. It's just that I'm always worried that my sound is going to be off on this device, because I don't know my way around it. So let's check. Drawing live. I am indeed live. Yay! And you can hear me. Okay. So right, you might have an idea what this live stream is about if you have been keeping up with my community tab, because I tend to post on the community tab before I do a live stream, in the theory that if anybody wanted to draw along, that they'll know what materials I'll be using to be doing something kind of similar in terms materials wise anyway to what I'm doing. So it's drawing today, right? And I'm using what I call soft drawing materials. And on the community tab, I posted a little hint about what I've been drawing. And you can see in front of me here more hints, can't you? So you might have guessed there's something to do with birds, because I had this image of a bird posted on the community tab. And this is well, it's a crow actually, but it could be a raven. I always get them mixed up. But something to do with birds. And this is the other one I posted, was this one. So, girl's face, okay? Birds and girls. So, birds, girls, and the title is Mythological Creatures, isn't it? So, do you know any mythological creatures that are birds and girls? Well, there are a few. There are harpies and there are sirens, right? And now harpies have a bad name. Always have. Because a harpy in modern parlance is a shrill kind of a woman. But in classical mythology, a harpy is a woman that's half bird, and some features are a woman's features. And I don't know, did this come from, the sound of seagulls at sea? And they make this shrill, shrieking noise like a woman screaming. It sounds like a woman screaming. And I don't know whether it's something to do with that or what it has to do with, or sailors missing a bit of female action and thinking about women all the time while at sea. But these harpies were rather nasty creatures. And from, like, it's probably earlier than this, but the ones that I saw were 5th century Greek sculptures of harpies. And I have an example in the description of this video of one of the pieces I'm going to be drawing from today. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun. Um, the idea of this one is that you get to use particular materials or see how they're used if they're ones you haven't used before. And we have a kind of a fun subject matter to do it on. So with this bird woman, that's going to be fun, isn't it? Now, even though harpies are supposed to be terrifying creatures, the ones I saw in Athens Archaeological Museum were funny, cute, lovely creatures. So I've always had since then, since discovering them, I've had a fascination with them. So check out underneath the video in the description, check if you find these interesting things, go and check out a harpy and see what it is. And it's a relation of a siren, only sirens seem to be slightly nicer. In that when they lure you to your death on the rocks, they at least sing beautiful music first. So there's this idea as well of harpies representing the wind, the sound of the wind. So I'm really glad I'm doing them today because we've a big storm outside and I can hear the wind whistling around in my fireplace. So it's perfect atmosphere to do harpies. So yeah, so we want for your harpy, you want a female head traditionally and bird's body. And then the legs can be birds' legs, but they can have women's hands. Now, rules are there to be broken. But I tried to hold off doing this idea until today because I wanted to keep the excitement about it. But I came up with this really cool thing yesterday that I thought I'd show it to you because it's kind of fun. So I started drawing this harpy. I didn't want to finish this because it's not on the color paper I wanted, but I did prepare paper first. And I'm going to use some of my soft materials for drawing this harpy. And I'm going to use what I'm calling a handy technique because it's using your hands in a way that you might normally. So can you guess from looking at that what trick I used? There is a little trick to it. But let's look at the materials first. So this is what we're drawing with, right? And I'll show you what I'm drawing on in a minute. And I'll do a few different things. We'll do a little bit of messing around with this. And I'll do something that at the end of the 1 hour live stream that's so messy that it requires me to have a bucket of water and some soap on hand. So you'll enjoy that. But some of these materials are so soft that you'll get yourself into a dirty little mess anyway. Like, for example, something that I made this little example drawing here with, which looks like a bird's wing, doesn't it? And I do actually have a reference for that. This is, I'd say roadkill, but it isn't now that I think of it. It is Pussycat Kill that I dried out of. Don't worry about any white dots you see in it. That is salt to dry it out, not a parasite or anything that's going to start crawling around. But we have a little example of a bird's wing here and the way that I want to look at the way the feathers go. I want to have a little bit of realism maybe in this as well as some sort of playful elements. So this is kind of it's like a kind of a spread wing. If you did a bird's body in the middle here and another wing like that, it could be a bird in flight. But this is done with soft materials, charcoal in this case, right? Which gives you a very soft line that you can blend softly. And you can draw on top of as well with your um, putty, rubber or eraser, depending on where you're from, would be the way you'd say that, which is a kneadable kind of a putty thing that will lift that off. This one is manky. I'll actually have to manipulate it a bit before I use it again. So you can draw with a thing that's meant to erase with as well. So, it's a nice way to use materials. And as you can see, it does unexpected things with other materials. For example, that yellow mark from an ordinary drawing pencil is showing through the charcoal, which is kind of a cool thing because you could lay down an underdrawing, couldn't you? And have details of the wings and everything shown and then put your black on afterwards. So charcoal's really cheap, right? So that's a nice thing to draw with. A very nice thing for covering big spaces because you can cover space fast with it. You can draw with it on its side. You can also get compressed charcoal, which is a bit sturdier, doesn't break as much as this stuff. But I've used charcoal here, but I've also used my secret ingredient, which, if you've seen my live stream before, I love India ink. So I've combined charcoal with India ink because sometimes you want a kind of scraggly line sticking out and you want to be able to draw with it. And then sometimes you want that lovely quality that watercolor gives. So you see the way you get the best of both worlds working with the two of those together. And ink or watercolor or any sort of acrylics or anything will happily go over that charcoal. Okay, so that's one kind of idea we're working with. And I'll show you this idea first, right? And show it on white papers, just so I can show off these pencils. But I also have prepared some paper with India ink for a bigger version of this, okay? And sorry about the shine and everything on that, but the reason I have done it with India ink is just because I do not have the correct black paper for this. For what I'm going to do, this would be a great sort of a paper. This is for Conte chalks or for charcoal. Obviously, charcoal isn't going to show up in that because it's black, but it's one of those sketch pads, has a few different colors in it. It's really nice. Pastel, a kind of a style thing, thick paper that's suitable for pastel. Pastel is another soft medium. But I have Conte chalks here that are, I'm showing you these not because I'm going to use a lot of them today necessarily, but it's off the bit off the bat. This I'm not necessarily going to use everything, but your Conte chalk is a bit like a compressed charcoal. It behaves like charcoal, but you can get a thinner kind of a line with it and kind of blacker as well. And I've just remembered I've forgotten to get an implement that is a really nice thing to have when you're using charcoal. And I know exactly where it is. So you can blend with your finger, yeah? But if you want to get precise blending, this is a handy little implement. And it's just kind of rolled up paper, that I think you can actually pair the top of it. So it's a blender. It's called a blender, that thing. So there's some of the materials you can use. You could do all this with just charcoal, right? But what we're going to do, and I'll show it to you on white paper first, right, is do my handy trick, okay? I have two handy tricks. And you can, if you want to have a go at this, you can make it your own, because this is a way of drawing our mythological beast in a funny, amusing kind of a way. I think it's amusing anyway. I was very amused doing it last night when I thought of it. And I'm just using white paper for this, right? There's the paper there. Heavyweight, smooth, heavyweight paper. So, okay, so here's the trick, okay, for drawing the bird. And we're going to get the pencils out. And this is kind of monochromatic set of Lyra pencils. And I like these. These are like a coloring pencil, except they have a waxier kind of feel to them, a little bit like chromograph pencils, which I really like. But I don't know what color to go for here. But these, they're just very pleasant and smooth and everything to draw. It's really nice. And I'm going to use, it goes from whites to sort of creamy colors to grays, to darker grays, blacks, and I've got hard blacks and soft blacks. And I think I just bought them because they weren't very dear, if I remember correctly. So they're quite a nice thing. So I'm going to go for a dark gray, I think, if you want to see what we're doing. And you might notice the difference with this. I'm holding my hand at a funny angle, so you can try and guess what I'm going to do. Bearing in mind, we're trying to make a bird that is a cross between a woman and a bird, okay? And I've had a lot of bird wings out on the table. So what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to go around my hand, okay? So, oh, it's a bit odd so far, isn't it? But take a look at the other drawing. And that's how it was made, isn't it? You can just about see the white on that. And I would have worked more on this drawing, but I didn't like the blacks underneath and I didn't want to re-establish the black. So we will do one on black in a minute. But I'll just show you the kind of mark making I want to make on this. So let me demonstrate how these behave. I can't give you the clue about what they feel like, but they feel lovely and silky, but also a little bit waxy. So here's what our bird is going to look like ish, okay? And I have a kind of a template already here. These bits are going to be women's hands. This is going to be a woman's face. I don't know how that's going to turn out because I haven't really done it yet. I was thinking about, I'd love to keep the beak, but it's very hard to make it look like a woman when you keep the beak, even if you start putting on hair and things like that. So I don't know, I might have to do what the Greeks did and go with the mouth. But it's amusing, so humor me. um, but let me just show you these before I start filling things in. The color range available in these, Lyra. Look at that lovely brown. This is what I like about these. And you see the way I'm leaning sideways on this. Look at the amount on coverage on this. So for bigger drawings, this is these kind of soft drawing things are great because you won't be forever drawing the thing. You can cover distance pretty easily. Let's look at other colors. So this is a gray, but the idea with these is that you can shade up. They're a bit like the idea of the drawing pencils that come from very light color down to darkest black, which I don't really use personally because I just use a 2B pencil and then really soft ones like 6B or 8B to get the same kind of effect. So I don't see the point of the other pencils. Maybe there is a point, but so you see how this behaves better on the black paper. The light colors behave really nicely on the black paper. So this is the point of doing the black paper. I want to have that a black bird, but with white details for the feathers. So that's why I'm doing that, you see. And I mean, you could get colored pencils involved or even chalks if you wanted to in with this because Conte chalks, they come in, this was a little pack that I bought that was some sort of a limited edition thing that came with a tin and I really like the way the tin slots together. So I bought that. But there are ready colors, you see, in Conte chalks. So you can pick out little areas in red if you want and do your bit of blending and everything. So you can get quite subtle about colours. They'll mix okay with the pencils. Not, fabulous. They don't blend perfectly with them or anything, but you see what I mean? It's not bad. You can actually warm up colours a bit. But we're still keeping that nice antique feeling because a lot of those birds, those harpies, are done on pottery. And if you do get a chance to go to Athens ever, do go to the Athens Archaeological Museum because you're gonna love all the stuff that you see in there. It's not just harpies; it's like statues of Zeus, giant-sized statues of life-size statues of a boy riding on a horse, and all kinds of amazing later Greek stuff. I think there's a lot of Roman stuff there as well, if I remember correctly. But like you could just have a brilliant time in there. Okay, so here is what we're going to be doing. on the black piece of paper. And I'm just drawing it out in white piece of paper so you'll see it a little bit better. And we're looking at the structure of this wing again, because I really want to get this. I had to look at this yesterday when I was doing the drawing. I want to understand how the smaller feathers relate to the bigger feathers. I want some realism in this and some elements of it's an illustration or a cute generalization. Because one of the things I loved about the harpies in the museum was they couldn't possibly fly. They were art harpies. They didn't fly. They just kind of walked around like dodos and, uh, had women's hands for feet and everything so they could scratch sailors' eyes out and all this. Um, and then some of them, amusingly, where you'd have one facing this direction and the other one facing the other direction on the pot, and they look like two women meeting in the village square just to have a natter, and that amused me as well. So let's draw in what we're going to do on the black, just so we're sort of building up to it. So I'm going to come around here with a head shape, okay? And then I'm going to have this kind of coy female head that's, being kind of a cross between a harpy and a siren, to be honest with you, because she's looking at you in a kind of an amusing sort of way, like she's not going to actually kill you. Now, you might give her a nose a bit like a beak. That's some sort of an attempt to be beak-like, because this is a little problem that I faced with it. How can I make it look like a woman and a bird? But in doing the feathers, that's the bit I want to figure out. So this is just the warm-up picture, if you like. And sorry, I'm down here at the feet now, and you laugh when you see this. Because they are quite human. So there are rows of these small feathers, yeah. Where can you see? You can't really see it at all, to be honest with you. So I'm doing a couple of rows of feathers, and I'm doing the feathers very stylized. So this is the plan, that we're doing them like that, okay? So one could play around with a few different versions of this. I could come along and do this version, all very nicely shaded and everything, and get into that. And I might, I think. And then it would also be very nice in a pen, black pen or biro, even, because it's a very sort of graphic style of drawing here, like a graphic designy sort of approach. And then we're going to do the later thing that might go horribly wrong. We're going to get the ink out. You see, that's where it might get really, really messy, because I made this with my handprint, didn't I? So the other one is going to be made with a handprint as well. And if you're doing the thing, remember, you can do things like this kind of thing here and get feathers going in different directions. That'd be kind of cool, See what works for you. So you can have the wings up. Some of the ones in the museum, I don't know where they're in that museum, because I was just looking at various renditions of harpies online. And later on, I think this was a later one, they had a beautiful one with woman's head, right? And then it came out into that, the lovely kind of dove shape. And I think it was a lamp, and it had a beautiful stylized shape. And this bit just, sorry, I'm not down up too high. This bit just rested on, your table or whatever. So it was just a beautifully balanced thing. So as an artist, if you're visiting museums and things, don't neglect looking at sculptural stuff, pottery stuff and everything, because some of those you get such fantastic ideas and inspiration from. And you start realizing with this stuff when you look at it that somebody like Picasso was, getting huge amounts of inspiration from this and incorporating it into his own work and everything. Um, in a not hugely changed kind of form. Now I'll show you something else about these that I like. They tear very easily and don't fall apart. I like that. They must have something in them that's a bit waxier than the normal crayon or the normal pencil. Um, and the wood around, the way with pencils, sometimes you get pencils, if you get them cheap, the wood isn't very good wood and it sort of crunches in the pencil parer. It's not great. That's a nice parer as well because it just keeps everything in the one spot. Unlike, just to show you the difference in things, this is a charcoal pencil, all right? And I used to think these were a wonderful idea because they keep your hands clean. And if you were going to life drawing classes or you're out in the field drawing, you wanted to draw big sketches of trees and you just wanted to do tonal studies very fast, which charcoal is great for. Um, I thought, well, these would keep your hands cleaner. But what happens is with these, I don't know, is it a false economy? Because sometimes they pair up to a particular point, okay, and then the point can break off right down to the wooden bit, which is very annoying because you've just bought the darn thing. See, they're safe at that. If you go further than that, they can get a little bit dicey. But having said that, they are very nice for precise lines. So like those Conte chalks, they're the other thing that makes a nice thin line. So it just depends on how you like to make a line, basically, yourself. So that's nice for getting your black. And there is something about chalks, right, and charcoal that make you have to work a little bit bolder. And that's good because, we've probably all done it, that we can get a little bit finicky and end up fiddling around in the corners. Because these don't easily make very, very thin marks, you tend to, if you're using them for a while, say, oh, no, I better draw this bigger than I normally would. And I've done this with this image. I had been working on a very small scale recently, which I was really enjoying with acrylics. And then when I got the goo on me to use these for that particular technique, I wanted to use them. I realized, oh yeah, I'm going to have to work at a bigger scale, a larger scale. So now look at, I'm putting the fingers back in on the hand, yeah. But each of these fingers is going to be back to front with this yoke, but it's going to be one of the little feathers, isn't it? So I've got a couple of rows of feathers. This has this particular bird, which is, I think it's a starling or a thrush, probably a thrush. It has 3 rows, 3 and a bit rows of feathers before it comes into the long feathers. So really, well, the way this particular wing is, it's got the rib on the wing here and then it goes out. But if you don't like how that looks, you could go into the center of the thing happily. It's just what you want yourself. And then we'll have to think about what way we want the tail as well. So, I mean, I'm just showing you on this one to show you how I'm planning to draw it. I don't know, what kind of a tail should he have? You see, you can do this for the tail. And I wonder whether you would kind of know, part of your mind would know that that's done with a hand. Because there is something kind of familiar looking about it as a shape, isn't there? You know? And particularly if you did a bird, you could do a bird that has like a, the peacock feather thing that has different colors happening here. Like we could have, if I wanted to go into reds, or I've no reds in that set at all, that's all browns. But say I wanted to go into reds. And that is kind of that color, that pottery. So I like that kind of feel. If we wanted to go into reds, you see, you've got a shape that's like fingernails, haven't you? For a little pattern bit in the bird. So it's giving you more clues. And in fact, it looks not unlike, there's a kind of a henna hand pattern that you see sometimes on t-shirts. It's not unlike that kind of thing. But for this one, I like the idea that uh, these fingers that I put up here are the opposite wings of the bird from the other side. So I'm featuring both wings, actually, one wing up and another down. And as per usual, if I don't get through all the drawings today, I will post them later. This page is going to be a kind of a sketchbook, thinking things out kind of page, as opposed to finished picture kind of page. But I will finish off that one in the middle because I think it would be interesting to do a detailed drawing type piece as well as the one that's done on black. Okay. And then I actually have 3 things to do, so I have to keep watching the time properly. And it's saying, I don't know how long I've been on. Actually, I should have looked at the time. It doesn't say it anywhere. It says the time above there, but it doesn't say how long. I think I've been on 15 minutes, so I'm okay. I haven't used up all my time. So what you're doing when you're working with something curvy like this is you want to make sure that the curves are nice and satisfying to the eye. Okay, where did you put my black? So this drawing here is mostly using the pencil, but I like these pencils because you can get a nice dark black with them while keeping the hands clean. Unlike these, that you can actually get a darker black with those. But we could come back in and work into those again. I also have, hang on, that's a charcoal. I also have, and I do not have it on front of me, it's another soft pencil. I know I'm hitting you with a lot of stuff, but it's because some of these things you might be familiar with, some you might not be familiar with. And the ones you're not familiar with, you might say, oh, I really want to try that one. And next time you're in any kind of an art shop or ordering stuff online, you might say, oh, I like what that one does. That would be perfect for me when I'm trying to do this, that, or the other. And you might go and try it out. So, I love it when other people do that on our live stream. I can't find the darn thing, so I can't show it to you. It's a chromograph pencil, and it's waxier again than that and does a very black. So you could be working on that on top of the pencil if you work happily on top of that. So this one will take me a while to do, so I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I will give you an idea about how it's going to look. I don't want to use up all my time on one piece. So we're going to do, the next one we're going to do is going to be working these lines with white on the black. And oh, look, the top of my pencil broke. Isn't that naughty? So this is the fun bit when you try to get it out of your pencil pen. This is why I always have those on hand as well. Yeah, you'll find that. Sorry, I'm trying to manipulate this flipping thing to get it out. You might as well see all the action here. Look. Yeah, got it. this is where you see that the white, using white as the lines on a black background, gives you a totally different feeling to this putting in black for the darks. So that's why I'm doing two different drawings of the same thing, because I know that they're going to do two different things. And it beats doing the same thing all the time just because it works. You know, you don't want to, be a one trick wonder, do you? Somebody who always paints or draws the same thing in the same way because it works. I mean, that's nice if you like doing a particular subject, but you want to be discovering something new all the time, don't you? So let's do a little smiling harpy here. And it's nice when I shut up, isn't it? She's a cute harpy. But at the same time, are we going to give her a beak? But we will give her mad hair. Now, on the Greek ones, what they do is they have a little kind of a headband, maybe, and they were very into curled kind of waves, which looked very serpenty or gorgony, if you know what I mean, like it was snakes on the hair to make them more threatening. But it just adds to the rhythm of the thing nicely as well, I think. I'm going to have her hair blowing in the wind because the harpies represent the four winds as well. I think there were four harpies. So we can have fun with different, with these particular sort of pencils. We can have fun with different blacks as well, because let's have a look at, there's a hard black. So for edges, that hard black would be nice. Then we have just ordinary old black. I don't know what, oh yeah, that's quite black. That's a lot blacker than the other black, which was a soft black, I think. And when somebody says something is soft, I assume they mean like the same way ordinary pencils would be. So I would assume an 8B pencil is softer than a 6B pencil. So I just think it's going to make a darker mark. But these don't actually work like that. This is the one that makes the really dark black. This just ordinary black. Aren't they nice though, these pencils? I love them. And they're just an alternative to colored pencils. They do slightly different things, you see. We might do a little, just for fun on this version, we might do a few little funny things. On the other later version, I might do kind of more animated scraggly bits coming out like on the side of the neck, but using charcoal, because charcoal just does that nicely. You can do big woolly sort of shapes. She's going to look like a chicken if I'm not careful now with this. What am I doing down here? I'm not going to go on with her too long because you're getting the idea of what my approach to this is going to be. There's going to be some of this lovely red, I would call it red bowl color in this one. Sorry, I'm looking for that little implement for blending, which I've lost already. I'm great at losing things on the table. There it is. So I don't want to get the end that's too dirty for this because I don't want the red to be too dirty. Now with Conte chalks, I'm lingering on this one a little bit because I want to show you as many soft drawing materials as I can. So we're on the Conte chalks now, and look at what the Conte chalks can do. You can do some really nice blending with Conte chalks. So let's say we have some of the red or red bowl color and some white. We can do a nice little blend there. And it's quite nice, isn't it? And there's even a grey included in that set of Conte chalks. You see, and then if you want to don't want to use a black, I want to use a brown. Where should I put my brown? These pencils, they all look the same. I have to actually read the thing on them to see dark grey, that'll do. So that pencil will work quite nicely with Conte chalks. This is what I like about it. I think that's nice because the thing about the Conte chalks and the charcoal is they don't like doing tiny little very strict lines, whereas these pencils don't mind at all. So they're very nice to use together. I mean, you can use all sorts of things together. You'll see me using charcoal and ink in a while now. Now we're going to put on eyebrows because we want her to have an expression. And she's comical. She is kind of comical, but fun. For highlights, I can even come in, if I wanted a highlight on the eye, I could come in with a little bit of, I have a white pen somewhere. And I could come in with that and drop a little bit of white in the eyeball there. Because if you look at these, if I come over here, do another bit of black here, right? We're experimenting now to see what these materials will do and what they won't do for us, okay? Trying to get control over material. When you get new materials, you're going to be doing a lot of this kind of thing. So will we be able to get a white of any sort over that? And you see, it doesn't really, I can modify the black with a white pencil, but it doesn't really give me a really white. And we'll try our Conte over it. Same deal. It's not crazy about it, right? Now, this is the perfect point at which to go to our black piece of paper because we're going to see how materials behave with the black paper. Okay, so that thing, I'm going to finish that later and put it up on the community tab later. Okay, but I have two other pieces that I have planned for today. So I'm going to just put that to the side. I will be referring to it for the next one. And I am going to be doing basically the same drawing, same kind of drawing, but on black this time. And just show you how the approach changes because I'm doing it on a different black background. And as I say, this paper, if you were working black, it could be, you could find yourself using pastel paper, but I didn't have big enough pastel paper. So I used ink, okay? And the ink is nice because ink, when I come along with white, we'll look at how white thing, you're going to get a bit of shine on this part of things, so I'll have to be aware of what I'm doing. Look at how nicely it wants to sit on that, and it would behave the same if you primed your piece of paper with acrylic paint. That'll sit quite happily. The only thing about that I would say is that afterwards, when you come along to store the thing away some way in your portfolio or whatever, or before you frame it, you're going to put a fixative on it, a spray fixative, which is what you use for any kind of chalky based thing, because it is just a powder. And look at, it gets a rub off something and the whole lot can lift off. So, but do that outside. Do not do it in the house. People go, oh, do it in a well ventilated area. Just go outside and do it. Wait for a nice day and go outside. It's not worth it to your lungs to be breathing in that thing, and you'll be able to smell it all over. Like even if you have a big house, you'd be able to smell it on the third floor. So, no point in wrecking your lungs, is there? So let's see how it feels about the pencil. It's okay with the pencil as well, you see. So we can get all kinds of nice things going on with this. So if we come along big and bold in the middle, and we go again, same thing. We've got our outline. And I'm gonna just that was it. It was a bit gimmicky doing the hand thing, but at the same time I do want that to look um a bit like a hand that you maybe your unconscious would recognize it's a hand because it's about a mythological creature it's a cross between a woman and a bird anyway. So and the whole idea of them ripping people apart with their claws and everything is I want the hand to be kind of a big feature in it. So and as for why this particular creature appealed to me, don't ask me. I kind of recognized something in it that was something mythologically that appealed to me. Just in the shape and the idea of a woman bird. I just loved that idea. Um, I had seen women and snakes in a lot of the Greek stuff. I really liked those. Some of the real early ones of Athena that they had up in the Acropolis Museum uh, were amazing. But, they were kind of, I think they were third century or something. They're quite early ones. So you see the way that's a lovely shape now, isn't it? So where's our? We have two drawings now to refer to. We're quite spoiled. So let's get the one on black. But you might have your own favorite mythological beast, and it might be a combination of man and beast, or it might be a just plain old beast from mythology. But I've linked in the description to a lovely, very short clip of Joseph Campbell. And Joseph Campbell was an expert on mythology and spoke about the function of mythology really well. And he had this little in the video. There's him talking about it, and I thought, oh yes, that's so true about mythology. That the function of it is to be a mirror for our ego, and our ego is our sense of ourself. So when humans are making up myths about things, they kind of talking about themselves anyway. So it's not terribly surprising that they make different animals and birds have human aspects to them. So I guess that was what appealed to me, the human aspects of these really delightful birds, that the way they represented them. I've also got in the description one of the pieces I was working from, which is it's very funny. I'll do a little drawing of it here. Um, I'm just too lazy to get it up on screen because I have to go through a few little gymnastics to get it up on screen, but I'll draw it out. And this is Greek as well. I think this was Roman, but it's actually Greek. And the way they have represented this is a funerary harpy. But I don't know why you would have a funerary harpy. But harpies and sirens being a bit related. I think it's more of a siren type myself because it doesn't anymore, but it had a lyre in its hand. Not an LIAR, but LY or a musical instrument, and was presumably singing a beautiful song. So this one has her wings up and is, kind of elegant, but gets less elegant down here because her legs are hilarious. And I think this is part of the thing I loved about them, that a woman with these bird feet just looked so funny apart from anything else. I mean, I can imagine them sitting around telling stories and, you know, as easily laughing at the stories that they were telling each other when they were out at sea, um, about, harpy women, storms whistling around them and making screaming noises, and talking about women, their women going to rip your eyes out. But the comedic aspect of it just appeals to me, and she's got a very funny tale as well. This is why I'm doing all my harpies smiling. Because they're kind of saying, you get, am I not funny? They're looking quite happy to be. And then there's a lovely one as well where they're swooping down on a boat, and all their hair is all flying around like this and everything. It's great. And then some of them have lovely little hairdos. And they're, all coiffed and everything. And you go, I wonder who did their hair for them. Although some of them have actually got arms as well. So they've got wings and arms. And this one did have a lyre. The lyre is missing now. But, great, fun things to draw. So if you found your favorite mythological beast, you can go where you want with it, really. So now you see how nice it's going to be on the black. I've only got 10 minutes left. So I have the thing laid down, right? So I'm going to have 3 things I'm going to post on the community tab later, because we're going to do the third thing now. Okay, this is the messy bit because I've only got 10 minutes to go in the live stream. Okay, so I'll show you the pieces that I'm going to post later. This is becoming a tradition, and it's because I can't work fast enough to be showing you what I want to show you and have it finished in time. I'm just, not able to do that. So I'm going to finish this sketchpad page and probably do a lot more work on the center figure. Okay, so that's one thing that I'm going to be posting on the community tab later. So look out for that tonight, because this will take me another few hours. This one I'm going to do as well, but I'm going to work it white on black, and it's going to be a lot more. I'm thinking it's probably going to be a lot more monochrome than this one, because this one will have 3 or 4 colors in it. It'll have grays, blacks, and a bit of that red with contact chalk as well. I never showed you the trick with rubbing back to get at spaces left with with the putty rubber. But before I move on, I'll just show you that magic of that, because I might not be using it in the next one at all. And I want to show you various tricks about these soft drawings. This is not the only live stream I'll ever do on drawing, so I'll be around again, and forgive me if I show you the same things again, but we will be drawing something different every time. So, and if you have any really cool techniques, I want to pick them up from you too. That's what I do. I go out and I look for different techniques and say, ooh, that will work for me when I'm working. So you see, here's the putty rubber, and I'm trying to mold it into something that will give me a line. And actually, they mold better the warmer they are. So if you keep working them, they mold better. And I haven't used this one in a good old while. I found it in the bottom of it. See that? Isn't that nice? So this is very handy, isn't it? So, for example, for our feathers, we can work back into the black and get a subtle kind of a feather. So it depends on what kind of effect you want for your bird, because all the different ways of using different mediums are going to give you slightly different bird effects. And this is why one subject, once you have a subject that really ignites your interest, um, you could do lots and lots of different pictures of that subject and never be bored. It's like, people doing portraits of people. You never get bored because not only are different people interesting, but even if you only have one model, um, working in different media and approaching it differently, um, can add new excitement to the whole thing. Okay, so we've only got a few minutes left. So let's treat ourselves to a new page. And we're going to do our charcoal thing. And I think, you'll see in the finished pieces when I have them up, you'll see the difference in the different media and the point of using different media to get different effects and everything, hopefully. I don't know. This is the bit where it could go horribly wrong, okay? This could be an almighty mess, but, we'll see how it goes. So for this one, I am doing my bird in charcoal. And I haven't tried to do anything. I could have done the bird in different positions or anything, but I thought, no, I'll just do it about different drawing materials, basically. And this is the excuse. This one bird position is going to stick with that because I have enough on my plate. Okay, so here is the bird. Now, why didn't I get the hand involved straight away? Well, you might wonder, but it's because I am going to get ink involved, and this is what I'm talking about. It potentially is going to be a horrendous mess. Now, I want, this is kind of more of a jackdaw feel, I think, to this one. So we're going to do that. And this is a real charcoal kind of a technique here. Charcoal is a very blendy medium. So you can get your lovely roundy shapes, yeah. And do the blendy. That's a bit awkward. I don't like the shape of that last foot I did there, and that might get changed. Okay, so this is the bit that it's going to be really messy. Don't laugh. Oh, do laugh. Okay, here we go. So we have to get the ink out. And it is my beloved, I can't find it, Speedball Black. I've added a tiny bit. Wow, it's so dark outside. It's going to lash. And I still haven't done my chocolate blonde, which I'm going to do next. So Super Black Speedball, which is sort of an expensive brand, but a good brand. I haven't tried the other brands, though. They might be just. So I have, beside me, I have a little basin. And I may regret this, but I've gotten a little bit of ink in it. And I want a cloth in case it looks horribly wrong. But look, this is what I'm doing. Okay? You can guess what happens next, can't you? Ooh. Here we go. You ready? Oh! Okay. Finger painting, basically. Ah, look, I've messed up the beak. Oh, well, it's definitely going to be a beak then. Okay, so I didn't wreck the whole place. So I kind of like that because it's got a lot of things going on. You saw that I kind of moved my hand and things. But so basically, you can work with the two things together, you see. And oh, it's lashing, it's lovely. Big storm, the harpies are out there. Trying to get a little bit of subtlety into this. Because that India ink can be very, very dark. It's gonna come in. And I'm gonna make do the eye. So like you can do things like do the mad hair on them. And have that in your charcoal. Or get your pencils out again, work into it in particular areas. There might be some areas that I want to have a thin line in, and other areas that I want a thicker line in. Don't forget, you can rub back. You can get at your featheriness in all sorts of different ways. So, you can get really lost in working on that and building it up again with various different media. And that's really what I was trying to show you kind of the adaptability of these different media and trying to kind of push them to their limits as well. Because they'll behave strangely with each other as well, which is kind of exciting. Okay, so I'm going to keep working away on these. Oh, I like it when you drag it. So I'll keep working away on these and post them on the community tab later. And I hope you had fun. I hope you do get the urge to do a bit of drawing yourself. And, there's an idea for drawing a mythological creature that really appeals to you. And if you look at the Roman or Greek stuff, the thing that I posted in the description there about the harpies, it'll lead you on to all these other documentaries on YouTube and places where you can look at other mythological creatures and sort of say, oh, wow, this one's really interesting. I'd like to draw that. So you never run out of things to draw because the Greeks are so inspiring like that. And Joseph Campbell is right, I think, about myth being the mirror of the ego. It's where we talk about ourselves and our relationship to the world. Who are we in the world? Bird women. Okay, right. That's it. I'm going to go and I'm going to go out in the lashings of rain because we harpies like uh, chocolate breaks when we're drawn. And look out for those on the community tab if you're curious about how they turned out. And if you had a particular thing that you wanted to do on a Saturday live, and you ever want to suggest anything for me to do, feel free to suggest it on, whatever the latest post is on the community tab, and I'll certainly think about it. I tend to have to do things I'm mad keen on at the moment, and sort of, you know what it's like, strike while the iron's hot kind of thing. But I'd certainly be interested to hear ideas about what you want to see. Okay, off I go, and thanks very much for tuning in. Don't worry, this will get better. I like this section. I don't like the beak, but we can do things with that. It's just that's too bright there, but I can do other things with it. Okay, see ya. Going to keep working away, and maybe even wash my hands. Bye.